In our sixth session, we will be focusing on the Passion Week, which started off Exodus 12:3. Tell all the congregation of Israel, on the 10th day of this month, every man shall take a lamb according to their father's houses, a lamb for a household. This is 4 days before the Passover, which doesn't always fall on a Sunday, but we know it today is, the church knows it today is Palm Sunday. And so Jesus being the Lamb, he came forth. That's when the whole Hosanna, the march into Jerusalem happened. Zechariah 9:9, rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion, sing aloud, O daughter of Jerusalem, behold your king is coming to you, righteous and having salvation is he, humble and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. They had paraded past the Gihon Springs, which was the same place Solomon went for his emergency coronation to get in before Adonijah. And that's in 1 Kings 1:33 and 34. And the king said to them, take with you the servants of your Lord, and have Solomon my son ride on my own mule, and bring him down to Gihon. And let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet there anoint him king over Israel. Then blow the trumpet and say, long live King Solomon. So Jesus, even this thing was same geography of where Solomon was marched in as king. Now during those 4 days between the choosing of the Lamb and the crucifixion, it says back up in Exodus 12:3 and 4 is that it was to be looked at for blemishes. And so the parallel here during the Passion Week is Jesus was examined for blemishes, and there were all sorts of questions and challenges to him, and there's some great teachings there. But Jesus was tested, asked a lot of trick questions to try to catch him during the week. Questions to cancel, not to edify. I now want to look at some key teachings of Jesus at the end of the Passover and also the prayer before his arrest. Most people are familiar with a lot of these teachings, but they don't associate that happened on Passover. So the first set of scriptures from 4 of the Gospels is on servanthood. There's the foot washing in John 13, 1 through 17. In Luke 22, 24 through 27, Jesus says the servant is to be the greatest. In Matthew, don't be like the Pharisees. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. And finally, in Mark 10, 42 and 43, the rulers of the Gentiles lorded over them. And we see this today, that so many people in leadership, not just in government, but in churches and businesses and all sorts of institutions that are there to lord it over others, not to serve others. And that's why a lot of institutions and cities and things like that never change, because the people aren't there to serve. They're there to be in charge. And as long as they can keep in charge, they feel they're successful, even if the institution under them never changes. A second area of his teachings I'll call accountability in our sphere. There's a high priestly prayer in John 17. I quote some verses there to look up, but Jesus was accounting to the Father on the ones you've given me, over and over again. So there was the 12 and the 70, but there were the women, there were the ones that were put in his sphere that he took responsibility for. And even on the cross in John 19, 26 and 27, he points to Mary and to John, his disciple, and says, woman, behold your son. And then he says to John, behold your mother. So even while he's on the cross, he's taking responsibility for the sphere around him. And then moving to the second part of this, in John 14:6, Jesus said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life." And in the next chapter, in John 18, or four chapters later, John 18:37, I said, "I've come into the world to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." And what a contrast this is today with the world system. People acting like everyone has, quote, their own truth.